What's up, guys? Samoa Fan 101 here, and this is my Summerslam 2017 review. I had just reviewed and uploaded, I recorded and uploaded my review of Great Balls of Fire. Now I'm on to the second biggest show of the year, SummerSlam. Much like with the previous year's SummerSlam, and much like they're basically doing all the big four events, they're increasing each show to 4 hours long. And with long pre-shows as well, which, not exactly a plus, I'll tell you that in just a second. So, with that being said, I already gave my piece on what's been going on recently in my last couple of reviews, so I'm just going to get right to the show now. Being that this is a long show, I want to get it out of the way. Show started out with the Hardy Boys and Jason Jordan against the Miztourage. I know it's called, I know some people they call like the Miz and the Miztourage. It's the fucking Miztourage. And by the way, am I the only one that, I cannot be the only one. I'm pretty sure I'm with everybody else when I think the Miztourage is a much worse name than what we all thought it was originally going to be called, which was the Entourage. I'm like, yeah, well, that is actually not a bad name. The Miztourage, horrible name. Because you want to name it after the Miz? Stupid. But, so, Miz and Miztourage, which is Curtis Axel and I was supposed to say Shelton Benjamin. They wish they had Shelton Benjamin. Miz does. But no, Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas and the Miz against Jason Jordan, Matt, and Jeff Hardy. Now, this was not a bad match. This was an okay match. This was a bang-on average match. It didn't really serve anything. And, you know, these guys tried. They got like good 10 or so minutes to go out there and work. This was all really just to build up. The Hardy Boys were only in there so they can be on the card. This was all basically building up to the feud, and this was part of the feud between Jason Jordan and The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship, which they would have a title match in the No Mercy review, which is my next pay-per-view review, just so you know. Now, Jason Jordan, you know, he had a decent showing here. Went out there, he did several suplexes. Jason Jordan was never a bad worker. Let's get that out of the way. It was never his work rate that was bad. It was always, it's just this fucking storyline with being Kurt Angle's son. And the way they're booking him now, they're clearly going to turn him heel soon. As of recording this, which is December 8th, 2017. Today, that will make today Friday. Now, there was two big problems with this match, and both coincide with being the same part. One, well, three things. One, the match was just bang on average. It wasn't that good of a match, but it wasn't terrible by any means. They didn't go out there and stink the joint. But then again, there wasn't enough of a joint to be stinking with, and I'll tell you why. Because this took place on the pre-show, as you probably know. But guess what? This was like early in the pre-show. Most of the people who were in attendance for SummerSlam weren't even there, which leads on to number 2 and 3. The second reason why this match wasn't that great is because not a lot of crowd reaction, but that leads to number 3, and the ultimate reason why, because they started this match so early, and Miz, I don't know about the other guys, but Miz was really pissed off. He's the Intercontinental Champion, but he's relegated to the pre-show, and on top of that, a pre-show in which there's barely any attendance. They kept the cameras very close to the ring. They didn't really use the hard camera too much. And there's a reason why. Because if they used the hard camera a lot, it would show all the empty seats. And trust me, WWE does not want to be showing you... Sorry about that. It was a burp. WWE does not want to be showing you an empty arena match. Which, if you saw The Miz holding up the... Because the Miztourage won the match after Miz got a tag in on Curtis Axel. Jason Jordan didn't know. He was going for his finisher. Miz went... The Wiz, no. The Miz hit the skull crushing finale, and Miz ended up, and the Miztourage ended up winning the match. Now, when they went outside to celebrate, it was only like for a few seconds. But Miz was like celebrating. He was jaw-jacking who? To no one. Because if you look at the camera, to your left of the camera, you see a bunch of empty seats. I'm just like, it made WWE look so Bush League. And the next match, which was the Cruiserweight title match between Akira Tozawa and Neville, it wasn't that much better. I mean, in terms of match quality, it was 10 times better. But in terms of the crowd, it was a little more of a crowd. But other than that, I mean, there was more use of the hard camera. But other than that, it was still similar to like an empty arena match, like a TNA show with hardly any people, which is sad but true. Speaking of which, Akira Tozawa and Neville. Akira Tozawa was going into this Cruiserweight championship match as the champion. Now, for those of you who do not know, well, I'll just tell you anyway. Let's set the mood here. Akira Tozawa, Raw before SummerSlam, beat Neville for the 205 Live Championship. We might as well just call it that, for the Cruiserweight Championship, and he beat Neville for the title. And that was a thing, because with Jason Jordan and the Hardy Boys beat the Miztourage on that same show, and and there was like another match on the show. Oh yeah, that's right. Finn Balor faced Bray Wyatt in a match as well. On Raw the previous week. It was like whoever, with the exception of that match, whoever won the match the previous week, the loser would get over on the show. So yes, another case of 50-50 booking. I hate 50-50 booking, if any of you know me. Just so stupid. Anyway, so Tozawa and Neville going in this thing as a challenger. This was actually a really good match. This was very similar to the Great Balls of Fire match and the Raw match, which I think the best of their matches was that Raw match. But this was a still very good match. It was hilarious. It was kind of funny to see Neville in his white gear, because he had white gear on for this match, and I'm just like, this is reminding me too much of when Seth Rollins wore white gear to his match with John Cena at SummerSlam 2 years ago. I'm just like, that to me, I just found that kind of funny. So, but they still had a very good match. You know, of course, it's Neville and Tozawa. Even though they booked the Cruiserweights not that good, you expect these two guys to have a good match. At one point, Tozawa went for a top rope senton. Neville got the knees up. Neville went for the Red Arrow onto Tozawa's back at one in the finish of the match. This was a very quick match. I honestly, in terms of the detail, I can't give you too much, because I did not go back and watch the pre-show. I only really remember the New Day Usos match, because that was the best match, one of the best matches of the entire night. But this was still a pretty good match. But the finish was Neville hit the Red Arrow on Tozawa's back. I guess there was like some kind of back injury angle, I don't know. But either way, Neville retained the Cruiserweight Championship, which I kind of figured was happening when Tozawa beat Neville for the title the previous week. Next was the Usos, Jimmy and Jay against the New Day, which in this match was Xavier Woods and Biggie Langston. Kofi Kingston, I believe, was nursing an injury to like one of his feet, like a recent foot injury at this point. He was not wrestling. This was a great match. I don't care what anybody says. This was a great match. This is one of the best matches of the night. Behind the Raw Tag Team title match and the main event. But this was a great match. I had a lot of fun watching this match. This match was a hell of a lot of fun. These guys had the feud of the fall. From from SummerSlam to from the shitty Battleground pay-per-view, even because that was the best match of the night on that show, to the show, to several several matches on SmackDown, to Hell in a Cell, which I'll get to in my Hell in a Cell review. This was just a great match. There are a lot of great spots too, like Big E powerbombing Xavier Woods onto one of the Usos. I honestly forget their names; they're interchangeable to me. I can't be bothered to remember who's who. Then in another great spot, Xavier had Big E, and Big E's a big boy. Why I call him Big E. He had him up in the electric chair position, and then slammed Big E forward, kind of like a splash, onto one of the Usos. There was a double spine buster spot, which looked incredibly brutal. There was another spot with the New Day, which Xavier, I'm sorry, my throat's running a little raspy right now because I'm still not feeling too good. Congestive head cold crap. Xavier threw one of the Usos into Big E. Big E went for the corner Uranage move, which that's a move he had to have taken from Samoa Joe, because he didn't do that until Samoa Joe came to the main roster. I've noticed. But anyway, he did the Uranage, but he did the Uranage while Woods was doing a backstabber. So another nice double team move, which was really cool looking. Big E almost went for a dive, which would have scared the crap out of me. They countered. The Usos did. They hit a top rope splash. One of them did onto Woods that he kicked out. There was another. They went for one of their New Day finishers. This was the when Big E had one of the Usos up for a big ending, and then Xavier from like nearly the other side of the ring. Not totally, because Big E was not in one of the corners, but he was close. Xavier was on the top turnbuckle. He walked on the rope just a little bit to his left, and then hit that one of those press slam, like not press slam, but like helped slam down one of the Usos for the big ending. There was another actually scary spot. One of the Usos was in the ring. Xavier was going to attack him. He basically threw Xavier over his head to the floor. But they were both against the ropes. It's not like one was charging the other. And Woods landed on the other Uso. Kofi went to check on Woods. The Uso, I keep saying the Uso because I can't remember if it's Jimmy or if it's Jay. To me, they're interchangeable. The Uso took Kofi, rammed his head into the steel steps, and he rammed his head into the steel steps, taking him out of the equation. Big E did that. They did that spear through the middle ropes to one of the Usos, which I swear he's gonna break one of his shoulders one of these days doing that move, or at least tear it. Big E went for a big ending on one of the Usos when the other one got the sneak tag in. They both double teamed Big E, hit him with stereo super kicks, and then hit him with stereo top splashes from different corners of the ring. And winner, and I believe, if I recall correctly, the new WWE Tag Team Champions at this point, the Usos. Which is cool because the Usos are great, especially with the gimmick they have. Whether they're heels or babyfaces, which I think they just turned babyfaces. They didn't really turn, they just kind of went to being babyfaces for whatever reason. There really was no explanation. No. They went to being babyfaces when they shook hands with the New Day at the end of their match at Hell in a Cell. I think that's what happened. Either that or it was on SmackDown. They shook hands. But yeah, there was that. The actual show. John Cena and Baron Corbin. This was an average as hell match. This wasn't a horrible match, but this was average as hell. And this was after Baron Corbin tried cashing his Money in the Bank on Jinder Mahal and failed thanks to John Cena interfering. you know, Baron Corbin, he has improved as a wrestler since his NXT days. But, you know, he still needs a lot of work. So I'm glad they didn't I'm glad they didn't put the WWE title on him. They put him in the US title division. They put him with the US title, which is better for him right now. Makes him work with hopefully more experienced guys. You know, Cena, I guess, tried, but it just wasn't that much chemistry. And the match, I don't recall being that long. This was the opener of the show. John Cena and Baron Corbin. It was only like a 10-minute match, which probably was for the better. We don't want Corbin in 20-minute matches. Not as long as unless they're multi-man matches, which Baron Corbin can, of course, pick his spots. But yeah, and shockingly for many people, John Cena got the win. He hit one attitude adjustment on Baron Corbin and won. John Cena ended his losing streak. John Cena was on a losing streak for years at SummerSlam. Because in 2010, Team Cena beat the Nexus, or Team WWE, but sometimes they called it Team Cena, beat the Nexus, which should not have happened. That finish sucked, and for many people, killed the momentum of the Nexus, and they were just another stable in WWE. They tried to salvage it afterwards, but it was too late by that point. And of course, Cena it was like a curse for Cena, where he would lose every single SummerSlam afterwards. 2011, he lost to CM Punk. 2012, he lost in a triple threat to CM Punk in the Big Show. 2013, he lost to Daniel Bryan. 2014, he was completely destroyed by Brock Lesnar. 2015, he lost to Seth Rollins. 2016, last year, he lost to AJ Styles. This year, we thought he was going to lose to Baron Corbin, give Baron Corbin a push, but Baron Corbin was being punished. Apparently, there was some word scuttlebutt backstage that Baron Corbin was being punished for what? I have no idea. I have no idea what Baron Corbin was punished for. We still don't know. I still want to know, sort of. But now I think to the point where at one point Natalya said, "I will make you the Baron Corbin of the women's division," which that must have pissed Corbin off big time. But anyway, speaking of Natalya, next match was Naomi defending her SmackDown Women's Championship against Natalya. And this was actually a pretty good match. I actually enjoyed myself watching this match. These women went out there and tried. Naomi, she at one point had a blockbuster outside from the steel steps onto Natalya, which was cool to look at. Natalya targeted the knee after Naomi tried hitting like a kick to the head from the apron when Natty was in the ring. She then springboarded her, kind of like the Cesaro swing position, got the springboard and swung her to the LED ring post outside. Swung Naomi, that is. And from then on, Natalya had the match, but, Naomi would fight back. It was still very nice. It was still a very good match. There was another part where, I think it was near the end of the match, when Natalya was hanging on the ropes inside the ring, and Naomi from the apron swung over the top rope and hit a leg drop on Natalya, which was really cool to look at. Natalya got the sharpshooter in. Naomi got out. She went for her split-legged moonsault finish. Natalya got the knees up, and Naomi had no choice but to tap out. This, to me, at the time, was surprising. None of us thought that Natalya was winning the title here. Well, maybe not none of us, but certainly were a lot of people who thought Natalya was not winning. But this was a nice little win for Natalya. If you wanted the last big Natalya title win, you got to go back to 2010, when I think it was at Survivor Series, she beat Michelle McCool for the Divas Championship. Which, by the way, a shitty belt, and Michelle McCool, not that good of a wrestler. Hang on. Got to keep the throat going. My throat's really red right now. This is probably going to be my last review. 2 reviews, I can get through that. I'm going to see if I can try to record videos on my tablet, but it's clear I'm still not 100%. But I'm trying for you guys anyway. Next match was Big Show against Big Cass, while Enzo Amore will be stuck in a shark cage. This match sucked. This match was the worst match of the night. This match fucking sucked. It was boring. Big Show had Big Show's right hand was taped up, I think, because Cass attacked it at one point during one of the weeks of Raw. So Big Show, it was basically a one-handed Big Show. He at one point went for the KO punch, which didn't work. Yeah, it was basically left-handed Big Show against Big Cass. They even did a left-handed chokeslam. Cass targeted the right hand. Enzo, by the way, part of why this match sucked, Enzo was so annoying. He kept on dancing in the shark cage, which was just stupid. He kept yelling out loud to the point where the first several rows of crowds were like so annoyed by him. That's the reports that I read later on. Enzo. Just speaking of Enzo, annoying, more like disturbing. Enzo took off his outer clothes. He was nothing but his boxers, his socks and his shoes. I think he like lathered himself in butter or something like that, if I recall correctly. I could have sworn he lathered himself in something. But he squeezed through the shark cage. He got out, only to be attacked by Big Cass and laid out with a big boot. Big Cass hit a big boot on Big Show. That didn't work. Big Show kicked out, hit another big boot on Big Show, and then hit him with the Empire Elbow for the win. This match sucked. This is the opposite of what we would have gotten if it was just Big Show and Braun Strowman. Would have been great. Big Show and Big Cass suck balls. Really goes to show you that Big Cass needs work. And the next Raw pay-per-view, they ended up turning Enzo heel anyway, so almost like, what's the point of this thing? So, next match was supposed to be Randy Orton and Rusev. Yeah, Randy Orton and Rusev. Sorry about that. God, my throat's really killing me. But I'm already recording, so I can't stop right now. So, please bear with me. Rusev attacked Randy Orton before the match started. Was laid the beat down this guy. Even following slammed him into the barricade. Threw him in the LED ring post, which was just brutal looking. Then the match started. Rusev charged Randy, hit the turnbuckle. Randy got out of the way, hit the RKO, and Randy Orton got the win. And yeah, if you haven't noticed by now, stay it right now. The booking of the show was completely shit. Booking Tozawa and Neville to be on the pre-show, not a good choice. The way they booked the six-man tag earlier on the pre-show with almost nobody in attendance was bad. John Cena beating up-and-comer Baron Corbin when Baron Corbin needed a win, only to embarrass Corbin. Big Cass and Big Show, what can I say? John Cena and Randy Orton stood tall at the end of the show. Yep. New era, my ass. Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss had their women's championship match. Now, before I continue, I gotta bring this up. Okay. So if you recall what happened at Great Balls of Fire, you know that Alexa Bliss got intentionally counted out and Sasha attacked her after the match. You'd think, okay, this is leading up to a title match and possibly a title win for Sasha at SummerSlam. Nope. For whatever reason, Bayley won /1 contendership after it was like an elimination match or something like that, or maybe it was just a random match on Raw. Maybe probably a multi-person match, knowing how they book. I honestly forget. Anyway, they booked Bayley to be the /1 contender to Alexa Bliss's championship. To the point, and this is after that horrible, horrible feud with Bayley and Alexa Bliss, the whole Bayley "This Is Your Life" segment, the craptastical match at Extreme Rules. So yeah, they put Bayley back in there. Bayley got hurt and accidentally hurt in the match with Nia Jax, and I'm just like, you know what? And they ended up putting Sasha back in there. I'm like, you know what? It sucks Bayley got hurt, but she shouldn't have been in the match in the first place. So Sasha came back in the match, thank God. This was a good match, but this was nowhere near the level of their Great Balls of Fire match. And honestly, the SmackDown Women's Championship match outshined the Raw Women's Championship match. Not to say that they didn't try here, but something about this match wasn't there. Something wasn't there like something was there with Great Balls of Fire. I don't know what it was. There was a nice little spot, though. A couple good spots. Where Alexa Bliss, you know how she does that, like the knee thing, where she hits her opponents with her knees and rolls forward, and then does like a couple flips back to her opponent on her knees with her knees. I mean, she did that from the middle rope, which was cool to look at. There was this one point where Sasha Banks just flung, because Alexa Bliss was on the top turnbuckle on one of the sides of the ring. Sasha was on the mat. She just flung Alexa Bliss over her head onto her back into the ring. It just looked brutal. There was another spot where Alexa Bliss was going for her Code Red. That didn't work. Sasha Banks countered it, and similar to like the Alabama Slam. You know how the Alabama Slam, you just kind of fling your opponent like this? Well, Banks did a similar move into the turnbuckle, which was just brutal to look at. She got the bank statement on Alexa Bliss. Alexa got to the ropes. Alexa hit the, I was supposed to say a Sparkle Splash. She had twisted Bliss onto Sasha Banks. Sasha kicked out. Sasha once again got the bank statement. After a little while, Bliss had no choice but to tap out. So there was that. Next was the Demon. Finn Balor, the Demon, against Bray Wyatt. This was a decent match. This was a good match, but at this point already, nobody was caring for Bray Wyatt and Finn Balor. Which is surprising that they were going to do this match again 2 months in a row. They did it at No Mercy, which I'll get to. And then they were going to do it at TLC. It was going to be Bray Wyatt against Finn Balor against Sister Abigail. And it was basically going to be Bray Wyatt dressed up in drag. And I would have hated that. I would have hated that. Thankfully, well, we'll get to TLC when we get to it. Finn Balor was trying his best here. Bray Wyatt tried, just that nobody cared. I mean, they were good matches, but nobody cared. And you know, they hit several spots. Finn Balor had a drop kick to the outside. This was the first time in a year that we had seen the Demon, and to see the Demon in this match compared to what we got with Styles at TLC. Yeah, it just wasn't that good. Sorry, I just thought I heard something. Finn Balor beat Bray Wyatt in what we thought would have ended the feud at SummerSlam. And with the coup de grace from the top rope. We thought it ended the feud. It did not. Next match, please. I really don't want to talk about Finn Balor and Bray Wyatt. It just wasn't that good. It wasn't. It wasn't that good. Next match. And we went from a match that nobody cared about to a match that I think a lot of people cared about. Which was, it was the Raw Tag Team Championship match. The Bar, Cesaro and Sheamus, defending their titles against Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, who had recently reunited after years of being apart, after the feud that they had. This was just a great, great match. Even better than the SmackDown Tag Team match, which was already a great match in and of itself. That was going to be a little bit hard to top. They topped it here. This was the best match of the night. First major spot was actually pretty early in the match. Seth Rollins went for a dive. Both Cesaro and Sheamus caught him, and then they just flung him to the mat outside, on the outside, because they were all outside. They flung him on the floor, which was just brutal looking. They worked heat on Rollins for a bit. It was just great wrestling. It was the power game of, and of course, it was the power game of Sheamus, the technical game and power game of Cesaro. The high flying sort ofness with the energy of Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, who had a little bit of high flying and a little bit of brawling in them. Brawling in more in Ambrose and high flying more in Rollins. Ambrose looked like a dog, which was a compliment because he always looks that way. He always looks like he's about to kick someone's ass in a street fight. Just great match. There was another spot here. I gotta mention this, where they did basically, okay, if you remember the heart attack with Bret Hart and Jim Neidhart in the Hart Foundation, well, they did a similar thing here when Dean Ambrose had Cesaro up, and instead of Seth Rollins hitting just a regular clothesline, he hit the Sling Blade move. So kind of a little bit of a tribute to the heart attack, which was definitely fun to see. Another spot in this match was sorry about that. Man, really sorry about that. Was Dean Ambrose hit a top rope suplex from the top rope, and then Seth Rollins hit a high-looking frog splash from the top to Sheamus. Cesaro broke up the pin. Just overall a great match. People loved it. I think this had the crowd's attention more than anybody in the night, except for maybe the main event. Sheamus hit the rolling senton to Seth Rollins on the floor, which I hate to be Seth Rollins in that spot. I probably hurt like hell. There was another spot where Sheamus and Cesaro did a tribute of their own to like the demolition finish. Similar but different. Instead of having electric chair position, Cesaro had Dean Ambrose in the powerbomb position, and then Sheamus went for a clothesline from the top rope. So, very, very similar to the demolition finish. And, of course, immediately afterward, they hit the double Razor's Edge. So, kudos to... So, a little bit of a thing to Scott Hall. I just kept on seeing things from other matches, and I'm like, I had so much fun. This is the best match. This is the best spot of the match. The bar was going for their finish, which was the elevated white noise. The Cesaro elevated white noise, I should say. I honestly forget the name of it. Seth Rollins springboarded up to the top, got Cesaro with a Hurricane Rana from the middle rope, because Cesaro was on the middle rope, not the top rope. Then, and with the Hurricane Rana, Seth Rollins threw Cesaro into Sheamus, who was still in the white noise spot, and just rammed Cesaro into Sheamus. Seth Rollins hit a super kick onto Sheamus, then hit the Kingslayer. Dean Ambrose got the Dirty Deeds, and 1, 2, 3, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins beat the Bar for the WWE Tag Team Raw Tag Team Championships. And the best match of the night. This match was freaking awesome. I don't care what anybody says. Actually, no, I think everybody agrees. This match was incredible. This was an incredible match. While not so incredible, next we got a really good match between AJ Styles and Kevin Owens. AJ Styles being the United States Champion. Kevin Owens going for the title. Shane McMahon was a special guest referee, which makes sense considering that the next SmackDown pay-per-view was the main event was Shane and Kevin Owens inside Hell in a Cell. This was a really good match. Well, I mean, this was a really good match, but it was also disappointing because aside from their Backlash match, we didn't really get. Well, actually, I got to take it back. We got great matches with AJ Styles and Kevin Owens before last year on TV, and then we got that one great pay-per-view match, probably the best match they had in WWE at Backlash this year. But aside from that, their Battleground match was, very underwhelming. This was a great match, but it also concentrated a lot on the Shane McMahon dynamic. I think if Shane wasn't part of it, and it was just them wrestling their hearts out, I think they would have had a better match. As it is, they still had a very good match. Both Kevin and AJ argued with Shane because both of them have a history with Shane. AJ, of course, beat Shane at WrestleMania 33, and Kevin Owens has bad words and blood for Shane. Great amount of water, so I'm gonna have to deal with raspy voice. You're gonna have to deal with raspy voice, me, for the next few minutes. So Styles at one point went for the the calf killer or calf crusher. Sorry about that. My legs hurt. They went for the calf crusher. Kevin got out of it. I think Styles went for like a pinning combination or something, but Kevin kicked him from the ground. He kicked him into Shane. Shane fell out of the ring. Styles went for another calf crusher. Kevin tapped, but Shane was not in the ring, so he couldn't see it. Styles, of course, argued with Shane. He pushed him. Shane pushed back, and Kevin Owens got the cradle and got the tights, but didn't get the win. Same thing happened later on when Kevin, who almost had the win, he had Shane, and this was after Styles hit a Styles clash onto Kevin, and Kevin kicked out. Kevin got out of the way of a phenomenal forearm. He got the pop-up powerbomb, and got the pin. But Styles' foot was on the bottom rope, and Shane, at the last second, saw it, but he had already counted the 3. So Kevin thought he'd won the match, but the match was not over because Shane did not go to the timekeeper to ring the bell, and because he saw Styles' foot on the bottom rope. So the match continued, and Kevin argued with him, pushed Shane much like AJ did him. Shane pushed back. AJ Styles went for a Pele kick, which knocked Kevin Owens a little loopy for a second. Not legitimately, but just kayfabe. Got the phenomenal forearm, then got Kevin Owens in what admittedly was kind of a weak Styles clash, but at least he got the Styles clash for the win, and AJ Styles retained the United States Championship. Much better match though than what we ended up getting next, which was Jinder Mahal defending the WWE Championship against Shinsuke Nakamura. And this was much like the opening 6-man tag, this was a mediocre as hell match. This match was so bang on average. It was an average match, but it might as well have just sucked. And I know some people would say, oh, Nakamura's a part of it too, because he's part of it. Well, let's really look at that. We have Randy Orton and Shinsuke Nakamura, who both had several pay-per-view title matches against Jinder Mahal. And there are other people who faced Jinder, and which also sucked. There was even a match AJ had once with Jinder back right before Jinder challenged Orton for the WWE title at Backlash. It was like a week before, and that was only an okay match. So even AJ at the time couldn't get it out of Jinder, and Jinder. So, but look at the one thing in common in all those matches: Jinder Mahal, and the fact that Jinder Mahal in all those matches was absolutely terrible. in every single one of them. Orton tried, Nakamura tried in that one match, Styles tried. This was before the title change in November. They couldn't get a good match out of Mahal, because Mahal is not that good. I mean, his best match, and contrary to what people might think, his best match was not against Styles in November. His best match was years earlier on an episode of NXT. It was the NXT title tournament between him and the match was between him and Seth Rollins. It was to crown the first ever NXT champion, which Seth Rollins won the title. That was actually Jinder's best match, and what was actually a great match. But that was when Jinder back was a lot smaller. He was not nearly as buff and as roided up looking as he is. Whether he really is on roids but whatever. He should not have been the champion at all here, apparently. And Nakamura, he tried. He tried to get a good match out of Jinder. It didn't work. And here's the other thing of why this match sucked. Because we know the shtick by now. We know the shtick by now. It was the same fucking Jinder Mahal match that we were getting every single pay-per-view. It was fire. It was we got a lot of fire from the challenger, or from anybody not named Jinder in the opening match. Jinder at one point got the advantage, worked heat over his opponent for who knows how long. Then babyface goes back on the offense. Looks like he's about to win. Singh brothers run in, get their asses kicked by Nakamura, only to have Jinder from behind get the Khallas, which is a horrible finisher, by the way. Got the Khallas. One Khallas it takes to beat them, and he gets the win. It's the same fucking match here. It was the same style of match. Babyface eventually gets a comeback. Singh brothers come in, accost, get their asses kicked, and then Jinder hits one Khallas and wins. It was the same formula for months, and it was pissing everybody off. And I'm so glad right now the reign is over, and I really hope next Sunday, not 2 days from now, which I'm recording, but the Sunday afterward at Clash of Champions, they don't put the title back on Mahal. I really hope they don't. Last match, main event, was Brock Lesnar defending his WWE Universal defending his Universal Championship against Samoa Joe, Braun Strowman, and Roman Reigns in a Fatal 4-Way match. This was actually a great match. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that, there was 4 people in there. And Lesnar did his part well. Everyone else did their part well. The real star of this match, though, was Braun Strowman. I mean, early on, Styles was going... Wish it was Styles. Early on, Lesnar was going suplex crazy on people. Mainly with Joe and Roman, but not with Strowman. But there was a point in the match when Strowman and Lesnar faced off in the ring. Strowman clearly had the man strength advantage. He had the strength advantage. Knocked Brock Lesnar to the outside. I have to mention this. It was so funny and entertaining at the same time. There was a point right after he got Lesnar on the outside, Reigns went to clothesline Strowman outside, and I don't know whether or not it was planned this way or not, but it was hilarious. Reigns, he didn't get Strowman all the way over, but we've seen at times before when sometimes they don't get the opponent all the way over, and then they just roll to the outside, like either through the rope or under the bottom rope. Not here. Here, Strowman, he's like, really? You're gonna try to clothesline me over the top rope? Okay, I'll throw your ass. That's exactly what he ended up doing. Of course, I have to mention this. Another moment when Strowman rammed himself into the corner, still ring post, because Roman got out of the way. It's like, think you would have learned by now, Strowman. You think you would have learned by now. Samoa Joe, 1 point. This is a nice spot. Samoa Joe had Brock Lesnar standing up in the coquina clutch outside the ring by the barrier where the timekeeper's area is. Reigns was going in for a spear. Joe saw Reigns coming and got the hell out of Dodge. So instead, just Lesnar got speared through the timekeeper's barricade. Joe then hit a Uranage to Strowman. To Reigns on the announce table, only to get knocked over the announce table by Strowman. Strowman then took, and this was great the way they did it. Strowman then took Lesnar and did a power slam, which is his finishing move. He did his power slam through one of the announce tables to Lesnar. You think one was just enough? Oh no, one was not enough, because Lesnar did it again. Lesnar did it again. Strowman did it again. He hit yet another power slam through the second announce table by ringside, which was great to look at. Just Lesnar being destroyed by Strowman. Although I gotta mention this, there was a spot when Joe, right before the second power slam, Joe and Reigns were battling it outside the ring at the ringside, and Lesnar from off screen, not Lesnar. Strowman just threw one of the announcers' chairs at Joe and Reigns, which was just fun to look at. But after that second power slam spot, he took the third announce table and just put it on top of Lesnar. Now, of course, these announce tables are weak, but these announce tables are weak. But after he put the third one, Lesnar got loaded up into a stretcher and got stretchered out. Then Strowman proceeded to destroy everybody with steel steps with Joe and Reigns, and it almost became a triple threat match. At one point in the ring, back in the ring, Reigns got the steel steps from Lesnar, but he didn't grab it right. He grabbed this ring steps wrong, and he ended up hitting Strowman on the side of the head with one of the ends of the ring steps. I think Strowman ended up bleeding. It was, I'm pretty sure he ended up. Remember, I'm going off pure memory here, but I love this match, so I remember it. But I'm pretty sure he ended up bleeding. Then we got almost like some singles action between Reigns and Joe in the ring, which was really cool to look at. You know, these guys share a decent amount of chemistry. Strowman went in, hit a double chokeslam on them, only for Brock Lesnar to come out and to attack the beast among the monster among men. I was about to say beast among men. The monster among men. Knocked Strowman outside. Then Lesnar did his suplex city thing, just German suplexes to Reigns and to Strowman and to Joe. Tried to go for the Kimura lock on Strowman. Didn't exactly work after Reigns hit everybody with a Superman punch. Reigns at one point hit a spear. Lesnar kicked out. I believe Joe, if I recall correctly, Joe got involved, got the coquina clutch, but didn't get all of it. Strowman then grabbed at one point Joe, got him for the running power slam. Lesnar, I'm getting my names mixed up here. Please bear with me. Lesnar pulled the ref out of the ring, only to get met by a Superman punch. So many Superman punches. There was a lot of Superman punches to the point I was Superman punched out. Superman punch outside to Lesnar. Again to Strowman, although there was a nice little Superman punch when Strowman tried to avoid a spear, only to get Superman punched right in the face by Reigns. Reigns went for a spear, that didn't work. Strowman hit a power slam on him, got broken up by Lesnar. Lesnar then was almost power slammed by Strowman. Reigns hit another spear on Strowman. Lesnar wanted a piece of Lesnar. Lesnar wanted a piece of... No, Joe! God, I really am getting my names mixed up here. Joe wanted a piece of Lesnar, only to get met by... And got a coquina clutch on Lesnar, only to get met by an F5. He didn't get the pin, though, because Reigns came in and broke it up. And Reigns went for a spear. He went for another Superman punch, because of course, Superman punch crazy. Went for a spear on Lesnar. Lesnar countered, got him in the F5, and beat Reigns for the win. Great match. Probably second best match of the night. Maybe third behind the SmackDown Tag Team, but it was a great match. But this show, man, until that last hour of those matches, until the last few matches until Cesaro and Sheamus and Rollins and Ambrose, this show was not going anywhere. It had a couple good matches, but man, the booking was really hurting it big time. But I wouldn't call this a bad show. I'll just call it a show that honestly could have been a lot better. And some matches deserve to be on the main card. Big Cass and Big Show did not deserve at all to be on the main card. Neville and Tozawa did. The Usos and New Day did. Miz did. Whether it was with Jason Jordan or not. But it's like, why give us these 4-hour-long shows if all you're going to do is wrap up the amount of matches on the pre-show and then give us just maybe 1 or 2 matches more on the main card? If you're going to do another hour, if you're going to give us 4 hours, give us 4 hours worth meaning. Don't give us a bunch of matches that we're not going to care about, like Rusev and Randy Orton, or Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt. I don't care if they are big names. They weren't worth watching. Even if one of them was good, nobody cared. But still, it was a decent enough pay-per-view, but you got pick and choose your matches. My recommendation, if you want to only pick and choose, watch the Raw and SmackDown. Watch both tag team title matches. Watch the main event, and watch Kevin Owens and AJ Styles, and then you'll be fine. Don't watch Jinder Mahal and Nakamura. Don't watch... if you want to, though. If you want to, you can watch Neville and Tozawa. But aside from those 4 to 5 matches, don't watch any of the matches if you're not that interested. So, with that said, guys, this will probably be my final review of the day. Unless later today I get my voice back, because my throat's killing me. So, be well. Stay safe. I'll see you guys next time. Until next time, guys, with my No Mercy pay-per-view review, peace.